It's ridiculous. Things. Can you guys see the like the chart, the SPX and everything? Cool. What's up, Jordan? Okay, sorry guys for the delay. It takes apparently it takes 25 minutes to reboot an HP laptop. So, uh, oh man, when I upgrade, it's gonna be awesome. You can't see it? Can you see charts? You can see charts. Okay, cool. Good. What's up, Clayton? Andrew, what's going on, man? What's up, guys? What's up, Rock? What's up, Jordan? Jordan, hopefully you can see charts. Okay. Yeah, you can't see me. No, I don't. Typically, I don't put my bubble head up on the screen too much. Maybe one day I'll do that or something. But anyway, okay, cool. So you guys can see me and things are going. So it takes 25 minutes to reboot an HP Pavilion laptop. I don't know why it does it sometimes. It happened one time we were doing live at the Open, and I was like trying to like trade and go live to reboot. Okay, yeah, Harvey, what's up, man? Yeah, as long as you can see the charts, it's cool. Can you guys normally see me? Goodness, I didn't know I had the camera on. But all right, anyway, let's take a look at the charts for today. Okay, so quick review. Hope everybody had a great trading day today. It's definitely interesting. We had a huge boost at the Open. And in fact, let me review that real quick. The NVIDIA was on the list last night to look at. I didn't trade it because I was like, I'm not going to put knowing where to trade or what's going on and all that stuff. Just use what you know, right? So if you're comfortable trading the 60-minute time frame, right, you can just use this continuity, to trade in the next day. And so that's what we did. And so the beauty of this, though, is that essentially the mistake. Not mistake, but of the situation that happened with Microsoft last time, I should probably add one more condition where it gaps up, comes in, and then comes back out, right? It ended up working great in the long term, but this time, not so much. So here, all right, so here we had a double inside day on NVIDIA, right? And so one of the strategies, if you open in the middle of the range, right, that you look to trade it to the upside, right? So the break here, basically the high here is 137.97, so 138 was a great whole number break to trade NVIDIA to the upside. So as we go in, right, you can see it. We had done on the bar chart. We'd already done a Fibonacci fan line, and so basically these fan lines served as really good support and resistance lines, right? So this inside 60 anchor was parked right on this side 60 anchor, right? So as it came down and pushed below it, one of the things you could have done is trade it right as it entered the range. But certainly the break of that is an inside 60 break is usually pretty strong, right? And then it corresponded with the double inside day break where you get even more momentum. And it was just a great setup, right? And so it turns out that whole first hour bar almost filled this entire Fibonacci fan line. And then it's just really started pushing everything up, right? Started pushing the Bollinger Bands. Look at that, they curved right up, and just all the way up until it hit the 50 moving average on the hourly here, and then kind of look at that, tagged it, and then was just kind of drifted back a little bit for the rest of the day. But if you guys caught that, which is awesome, and I wish I did. So Boohoo was putting tears and all that stuff. But it is what it is. But that would have been a great trade, especially in the $50,000 challenge. Well, actually, it wouldn't have worked because if I closed, I would have had to have held it overnight, and then Amazon is down, bringing the Qs down, and let's see. So already, it's pretty stable here, but it would have been maybe a double. But either way, at this point, if I could have day traded it, we would have had that $200 account would have been up to $800 by about here. So that would have been pretty fantastic. And also, real quick too, this is a measured move type style right here. So here you have a big impulse move here. Usually if a bar kind of consolidates right next to it, that could be a potential measured move to the upside, which means you have full length here, pause, and then full length up, which is what it did. It just took 2 bars to do. So let's take a look at Amazon real quick. Amazon ripped, and then it's actually been ripping for a long time, right? But this gave you a Morningstar setup on Amazon, right? So we talked about this, right? So big red bar, gap down. Real body of the gap down is below the real body of the prior bar, and then the next bar is full green bar that reclaims a good portion, right, of the prior bar, and this one really did. It almost reclaimed the whole thing, especially the real body. Okay, so this here was your Morningstar reversal at the didn't kind of know chart. and then gave an open below it, pushed even below it, and then so as it reclaimed that Bollinger Band on the weekly at 1389, which is still a lot higher than 1380, or I'm sorry, 1307, right? Then it ended up pushing like all the way, and then an inside week back up. So really huge move to the upside, and I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but you kind of look at it, earnings are binary events, but with such a strong move to the upside, it's almost hard to believe that it could go any farther. But these days, anything can happen, right? So interestingly enough, though, right? So it did tag the upper Bollinger Band today and gave a spinning top, and so now, as you guys know, it's down. It's down significantly. So they said it was about an 80-point expected move on it, and it seems to have done that pretty well. So you're about 80, 90 points off of the close. So goodness gracious, and huge volume today too, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so that being said, at least the premiums will be kind of rebalanced a little bit, and they'll be more affordable for actual trading in the future for the $50,000 challenge. So when we can get up to that point to trade them. So let's take a look at the SP. Oh, there we go. Auto zoom. Okay, cool. So the computer's moving fine now. I mean, if it just did this when I booted, and if it booted in like 10 seconds, I'd be happy. So I guess it's I don't know, we might invest in some Apple or something like that. So, but anyway, we're somewhere around this retracement area here, about the 30% retracement area, and thought it was going to come back down here. It didn't. Kept pushing, went through the median line of the pitchfork, reclaimed the wave 1 low, invalidating this as a wave 4, and leading us to be curious of what is actually going on here. It's a very sharp move up. So my thought is that we're looking for an ABC pattern. This could be a zigzag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means that we're actually looking for a zigzag potential pattern, which means we should have an ABC to get to wave B, and then another zigzag back up. So we might see, some sort of like kind of, who knows, maybe like a slow kind of drifting, kind of like down move or so. I would say like at least back to 50% of that range, and then we might see another zigzag back up, right? And it could even be this intersection point here, and then where are we at? Well, it could be that this was wave 1, this was 2, and this is maybe 1, 2 larger, subwaves for special extended wave 3. But we just don't know yet. If that is the case, that would give a lot of the velocity to the downside if that ended up playing out as what's actually happening. I mean, who knows? Like if it gets here, maybe in April there'll be like no trade deal or something like that, or war breaks out in Iran, and big shoot, impulse wave to the downside. So difficult to tell. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. Today it's very interesting with all the big push up and everything. We tagged the low end of this shorter term pitchfork, right? We had 2 pitchforks on this. I'm going to highlight it right here. If you click this one, you can see it goes from the pivot at the beginning of the year to the low, basically the April lows, all the way to the the October, kind of double top high, and that kind of gave us this pitchfork area here. This is a smaller pitchfork from the second low to the pivots here, and now look, we've just tested that level, and then Amazon misses, and so we might see a little bit of a pivot here back into the range, possibly below the channel, possibly retesting this median line, and if that fails, then we might see this kind of ABC type move to the downside. Okay, cool. So that's SPX. That's kind of where we're at with the market. It's a review of Amazon. So now, real quick, I want to touch on moving averages. So with moving averages, there's 2 different types that are, there's several different types, but 2 are the most common that you'll see in most charting software. One is the simple moving average, and one is the exponential moving average. Okay, so real simple, no pun intended. The simple moving average is let's pull up. I want to pull up Tesla because it is whatever time you pick. So if you pick like the 9-minute moving average, or or the 9 MA. Simple moving average. All it does is take the average of the last 9 prices and plots it, right? So in general, it kind of follows the general flow of where the price is going, right? So it's really simple. Now the calculation for the exponential moving average is a little bit different. It takes the I don't have the calculation exactly memorized, but it takes basically, not only does it take the previous prices, but it puts a couple different calculation factors in there. And ultimately what it does is it reacts to price more quickly. And so So you can trade with both of them. It doesn't really matter. I like simple because it's simple. But with exponential movements, they just move a little bit faster and they react a little bit quicker to price. It really is completely up to you, and I'll show you the difference. So I'm going to pull up here on the 1 minute chart. I'm going to pull up let's say I'll pull up a 20-minute moving average exponential. So let me add that. I'm going to click Add Studies. Let's see moving average, and I'll I'll do moving average simple, or simple moving average. Okay, and then I'm going to edit that, and I'll make that 20 minutes. Just click in there and make it 20. Okay, so there's your simple moving average. Now I'll make like a green one for the exponential moving average. Okay, add study, moving average, and we'll go moving average exponential. Okay, really similar, but you can see here, just looking at it, how it kind of gets real wavy as it goes into it, whereas the simple is a little smoother. That's because the exponential moving average, the way the calculations are done, is that it just reacts more quickly to price. Okay, so it really depends on how you trade. Now there could be a benefit to one versus the other. The reality is, it just all depends how you trade, right? So just as you look at these kind of coming up here, right? You can see, so the green one, right, was the exponential moving average. So you can see that we pivoted here, right, in price, right? But the moving average didn't pivot until here, okay? And that's just because it takes a while for that price, to catch up, because it had a huge move down, right? So that price dropped huge, right? This is Tesla, by the way. The price dropped huge, so it took a while for these moving averages that were kind of moving up pretty well. They had to move relatively quickly to catch up based on those averages, right? So the averages here were pretty high, then they dropped really low, and so you can see here, see the sharp move, that sharp spike on the exponential moving average. That's because it reacts more quickly to price, right? And same here, as it turned and the average of these prices started going up, the plot of those averages. And remember, it only takes the plots in the past, right? The plots of those moving averages, started to turn, right? What turned more quickly? Well, right here you can see the exponential moving average turned a little bit quickly, a couple ticks, maybe a minute or two before the simple moving average started turning. So it's good and it's bad, right? So the good is that you can react more quickly to a change with the exponential moving average. The bad news is that if the change was not here, like just kind of look at this. So if the change was not, if it was too fast and it really didn't affect too much, you might have gotten out on the moving average before you would have on the simple moving average. Okay, and so what you want to do is there's several common ones, and I've had some tweets on that, but the 9, on the daily chart, the 9, the 20 and the 21 are pretty common. The 50. And and on the daily, sometimes you'll see the of course the 200, and then really for long-term trends, the 250-day moving average. And I had a joke when everything was crashing back in October. I was like, oh, it took out the 500 moving average, right? I mean, because it's just ridiculous. There's ones that nobody ever uses, and you can do whatever span you want to. You can even, if you really want to, you can use the ribbon study, which has multiple moving averages, and you can kind of look at that for compression points. Let me actually show that to you real quick. You just type in ribbon. So it's moving average exponential ribbon. So I'm just going to click on that real quick and see how crazy it is. But it's really cool. So you can see how that kind of this ribbon type thing. So a lot of times, people will trade this like here, because these are multiple moving averages just all plotted at once, right? And so here, some people will use this as resistance, right? So it kind of got there and kind of held as resistance. But once it broke through this whole ribbon, right? So you can use multiple, it's very visual, right? Then it's like, okay, now I want to go long, right? Because clearly every moving average is pointing up. And then at that point, you just want to find, kind of which moving average is the smoothest for it, right? So as they compress, right, that's a change in trend. And as these compress, it's a change in trend to the other way. So it's just a cool little one. Sometimes I look at it on the 5-minute chart. So I'm going to remove that real quick. Okay, so now here we go. So that's the difference between those moving averages. So really no big deal, right? But I'm just going to stick with simple because that's what I use. So I'm going to remove the exponential, and here we go. All right, so this actually is the 20, and it's looking really good on Tesla on the 1 minute chart. Why is that? Because it's serving as clear support and resistance, right? And that's what you want to do on certain. Every stock is a little bit different, right? So if I click Amazon, right, it kind of doesn't really serve as like support and resistance, right? It kind of like bounces through it and bounces through it and gets it. Like, so if you're trading against this, right, it would be very hard. I mean, so here you came up, okay, cool, it touched here, you're fine, right, and you would have got it here. Now that would have been a huge move. That would be 1680 to 1700. But if you can find a moving average, and that's kind of the cool part, is if you can find a moving average that is a little bit closer. Let's say it touched on this one and then served as bigger resistance, you could do that. So let's experiment with that. Let's go to the 50. The 50 is looking pretty good. So let's see, it's moving up. It kind of came back here, it touched it a little bit, and came back. Now let's see if we can find, and it touched here pretty well. Let's see if we can find that. And then let's just go. Let's do 100, and then we'll do like 75 or something like that. And the closer you can get to smoothing these out, okay, so that's 100, a little too big, right? It's like you don't know where you are. So let me go back to, let's make it a 70. And if you can find one for a stock that you like to trade, right, and use that, see, this is really good right here. So here, kind of came up. So on the 70 moving average on the 1 minute chart on Amazon, holds pretty well. In fact, let's try one more. Let's try the 65 and see if that holds. Look at that, it's almost perfect. Okay, so so we had a big move up here. Here it came, touched the average again, right? So quick move up. You know, you could trade to the upside here, right? Pulls back, hits the moving average again. So as long as it doesn't break this moving average, right, you could continue to trade it to the upside. And then we could try it. We could look at multiple days and see how that handled it. You can see Amazon seems to like the on the 1 minute chart seems to like the 65 moving average, right? So here we are here, there. Let's go back here. See, it seems to like it pretty well. So this one kind of came through, bounced through it, touched it really well, and then bounced. You know, kind of came up here. This would be a good spot to get out there, right? Nice break through it. Okay, good. So you're long it until it touches it again, which is over here, right? So we find you know, different moving averages which are good for different stocks. So I think Tesla, as I've noticed in the past on the 5 minute chart, I think really likes the let me make this a 5 minute chart. I think it likes the 10 minute moving average pretty well. Or the 10 MA. Hold on, give me 1 second. We'll make that a 10. And it might be a bigger time frame. So I can't remember quite exactly. Yeah, so Tesla's, you know, a tricky stock to trade, right? But you can see here, once we have a nice turn, right? You can see it likes to hug the that moving average here, and then you can get out from, you know. So you have a breakout here through the 10, and I've seen this on one. You know, you can do this, and then if you can find a good indicator. So let me just add let's add MACD to this. Here, so here you had just, you know, these are just little techniques you could use. So here you had the MACD crossover right here, right? It went red to green, right? So you had a little expansion right there. And then you use your favorite moving average for a particular stock, and then so boom, you go long on this crossover. You know, it holds until it gets, you know, basically that moving average until you're ready to get out. So the 10 here didn't work that great. Let's try the 20. And it'll work on different time frames, so that didn't really work too well. So maybe we'll go to the 15. And you can just go and experiment with this. Find, you know, the stock that you like to trade the most, and then which time frame you like to trade the most, and find the moving average that you like the most that tends to hug it the best, right? As if you were drawing a trend line underneath it, that where every time it touches it, it seems to go back up, right? And so here, this is just an example. Okay, so the MACD crossed over here, right? You had a nice break through the moving average, so you had confirmation, MACD crossover, and it's starting to go green on the histogram. And then, so that's a good place to go long, right? And you hold that until either it touches the moving average here, so if you did that, you would have been 291 all the way to 295, so a nice 4-point move. If you still held, because it didn't really cross over too much, right, give you another boost here. And then finally, you could have used this here as a point. The MACD was kind of crossing over itself, or you went from green to red here. This is not a bad place to stop. So here you would have went from basically 291 to 294, 295, or you just banked up there at 297. So that's a pretty solid move. So that's the idea of moving averages. They don't necessarily, some algorithms might be programmed to it, right, on more popular moving averages, but in general, you're not a computer, right? We're not computers, so it's good to just kind of smooth it so to whichever stock you like to trade. So that you can see that most of the time it serves as really good support and resistance, for the direction. And then you can combine tools like the MACD, where it goes green, and you have a breakout through your moving average. So here it went green again, right here, and a breakout through the moving average, and you go long, and then this kind of went through it. So maybe this is not the best size moving average. Maybe it's the 20. And see if you go and you back test it for a few days. You'll find the best moving average you can find. This is pretty good. That's a pretty smooth, move right there. So, and then same here. Look, this crossed over. MACD's crossed from green to red, break through the moving average, right? And possible short right there. But then it came back up and touched it, so it would have been a stop out on the short side. So you just have to find which moving average works best for the stock that you like the most and the time frame that you like to trade. And then if you can incorporate MACD or MACD works really well on these because it is a moving average, right? As well, you have the 9 and the 26 in here, so so those work well too. Anyway, so those are quick techniques, and I know it's late, guys, just because it was slow. So at this point, if you guys have any chart requests or questions, please feel free to put them in the chat window, and we'll get through those. And I think next week I'm probably going to go back to 9:30, and I'll try to limit the calls to like 30 to 40 minutes at the most. This way everybody can get some rest, but we can still get our chart requests out, and it'll give me more time to put the video together and do some charts before it too, so there's a little more quality, I guess, to it, and it'll make sure my computer's running, so we don't run into this this kind of mess. But appreciate you guys' support and jumping on tonight. So let's check out some chart requests and kind of go from there. So Harvey, what's going on? Julian, what's going on, man? Baidu. All right, let's go to Baidu. Da, 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 da. Ah. All right, so Baidu, they're kind of nice. Yep, so I just had a trend line here from this low end to this one here. So Baidu is, like I said, had some potential here to get up to 200 in the next couple months. The setup, remember I reviewed Amazon a little bit earlier. The setup was really strong. It didn't close full body underneath the Bollinger Band, but it did close slight body underneath it with an RSI oversold. And I think we talked about yesterday. It hasn't done an RSI oversold since 2015. And the last time it had oversold conditions in 2015, it moved about, here it is, moved about, let's see, 132 to about 220. So almost 100 points. So I mentioned this like last week or so, and just going to be kind of watching it. So it's got a couple things. It's got some volumetric resistance here, like around 174. But I do think it could eventually touch the upper Bollinger Band at 185 and then get to that 200 level, which is right at the 200 moving average. So that's on the weekly. It's 200 up here. It's 217. So here it's kind of in some cloud resistance. So I think a 180, 182 break eventually could lead to that kind of 200 level. So yeah, but just keep in mind if you're trading it short term, you're going into some cloud resistance here. So it needs a little bit of it's got a little bit of work to do, but it makes sense. It's been chopping around as we've got trade kind of issues like coming up. So and earnings are on the 14th, so keep an eye out for that one. Merritt, what's up, man? How's it going? Jordan, yeah, OS, yeah, I know. I need to get a better one. Bargov, what's going on, man? Hey, Bubblehead, had a great trading day. Awesome, good job, congratulations. Played now, earnings report, great return, fantastic, good job, man. What's my thoughts on Google earnings report? Well, think it's interesting. Oh, sorry, I've typed in ER. I think it's interesting. It's had a huge day today. It's the futures. I'm sorry. The after hours are down slightly, but not huge on the Amazon news. It doesn't really affect Amazon. It's not really as affected as much by Amazon as possible, or as you'd think it would be. But it does have earnings coming up, pretty soon, like next week on the 4th. So could it run? I think so. I mean, if you think about it, right, a lot of people are going to be selling Amazon tomorrow, so they're going to be putting, looking for places to pump that money. And with Google having earnings coming up, they might try to push this one up as well. It's gotten through 2 different clouds here. After today, it's kind of banging on the top of the this longer term cloud that I have in here. I think it's like the 49-day cloud as opposed to the 9 and 26. So it got through there, hit its 200-day moving average. So I would say if it can get above today's high in the near future, maybe not tomorrow, maybe tech will get hit a little bit after Amazon. But like you said, it could. Let's say it consolidates, maybe gives you an inside day on Friday. Maybe Monday gives you a nice push into earnings. When is the 4th? That is Monday. So I don't know, Bo. I don't know how to assume one way or another. I don't know. Tech's been just so crazy. It's any trade into earnings, right, is going to be high risk, right? So but it did try to test the low end of this channel here and kind of broke back in it. So whether or not it's going to get an extra push to the upside, it's hard to tell. Just the fact that Facebook got a ton. It actually moved up a lot today on Facebook. The fact that Facebook actually had record revenues on advertising means it's possible that Google could have had a good quarter as well. So it's kind of 2 cents on that. PDX thoughts on Disney. It is Magical Kingdom, and gosh, great move today. Look at that! This whole bar here got right through the cloud, or right to the top of the cloud. So tomorrow we're going to be outside of the cloud, which would lead me to think that there's more upside potential. Nice hammer on the week so far. It's got room to over 112 on the Bollinger Band. The monthly is still inside month, but that could mean potential more strength too. Huge close on that. So looking pretty strong on Disney here. Let's see if we can do any sort of pitchfork or fib fan on it, just kind of see what's been going on. Here's a daily. Gosh, yeah, it is a complicated little thing. It's just been in such an enormous upturn for such a long time. I'll do a fib fan from this trough here to this peak. Let's see what that looks like on these fib fans here. Look at that, served right as resistance right there. I'm sorry, support right there. Then followed as resistance. Okay, and then it's kind of hold on basically to this sort of trend line here. So hard to say. It might push up, like I said, up this 117 level. Might retest that kind of zone, this kind of Fibonacci zone. So there is definitely some upside potential here. I do like how the RSI is kind of pushing to the upside, and the stochastics are pointing up. So that does look like there is a potential for some more goodness. And then it looks like earnings on Tuesday. So it could really use some good ones. I know that. They probably got something good up their sleeve too. I mean, they've been focusing really hard on beating Netflix and improving ESPN and all that stuff. Max, what's going on, man? Shirley, how are you? Let's see. Oh, jump over this. All right, yeah, let's take a look at W Day. Whew, gosh, W Day is super strong. I got an upgrade today. I mean, we've been looking at this here, so that's why I tweeted out this morning as a 15-minute orb. We've just been kind of stalking this thing, and it looks like the orb basically was contained within the day, but it is just. I mean, look at that. I mean, we've been stalking this thing. Look, it went right off of the pitchfork low here, came up right midline, back down, pivot directly off of the pitchfork median line, and I think we even talked about it. It looked really bullish, and then boom, gaps like right up there. So if anybody had calls or was long this, I mean, just incredible move right there, right over this volumetric resistance area. So that's really awesome on W Day, and it could, like I said, it could go up to. to 202. Let's take a look at Send Grid. Another huge move. I mean, definitely, continue to keep an eye on this one. Let's go trough to peak here. So let's look at that. And let's draw a pitchfork too. So it seems to be holding here as like a median line. I would just look, it looks like it's pivoting nicely, so it does look like it could go up higher surely. PBR. That's our friends in Brazil, and they seem to be doing better than their friends at Vale. But let's see. Yep, so here's our pitchfork we looked at last time, right? This volumetric resistance has now become support. Came all the way back up to the pitchfork median line. So at this point, it either decides to pivot and come back down, or it breaks out and gets back into this upper range of the upper pitchfork, and then gives you some more upside move. Just be careful of the negative divergence here on the RSI, which could be a little bit lower, and same with the stochastic too. Let's look at iTub. Is that like iRobot, except it's like an automated bathtub or something? No. iTower, that's right. More fun Brazilian stuff. So back up to the, let me go daily. Yep. So we kind of reviewed this at last time there. So came all the way back up to the pitchfork median line. It is through it now, so look for some further consolidation, and then maybe another push up to here to this volumetric resistance as it gets to the top of the pitchfork area. And I'm going to pick one more. Let's go to the last one. Let's go to TMUS. They've been doing really good, these guys. They're just really trying to do well. I mean, this is one thing I've noticed with every time I hear an interview with them and all that stuff, they're just focusing, Let's go to that peak right there. So, it's been holding these Fibonacci levels pretty well. And let's go ahead and pitchfork it too. All right, so it does look good. I mean, it looks like it wants up. Right, it's kind of had this inverse head and shoulders and all that. So I'd look for 72 first target, 76 next target, and then your 87, I'm sure, is up at the top of the pitchfork there too. So looks good. Max, what's going on? Let's check out Boeing. Boeing. So let's take a little bit of a deeper look at this here, because that was a short-term pitchfork. It's hard to believe it was a $50 stock, but it's just been rocking. So actually, this is pretty good. So was handling this median line here. Obviously, rocked on earnings. It does look like it has more upside potential to get into the 400s. At which point, I would look for a pivot kind of area for it to kind of start to retrace there. But it's in this kind of this big megaphone type format. Let's see. Gotta love when those line up like that. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of working its way up. So just definitely worth keeping an eye on. I think we had an inside day today because it kind of drifted back a little bit, as I recall. 30-minute orb to the downside there, 385 all the way down to 382. So 3-point move off of that, and then inside day today. So look for a break to the upside or downside tomorrow, based on the low of the day here was 382.08. So a 382 break might at least get you to 380, and then if it wants to, and the market's really bad, can get you into that back to fill the gap around 370. I do like how it banged into volumetric resistance here. And it did close over the upper Bollinger Band with RSI oversold and starting to curl down. So I think a break to the downside, that 382 break, I think is worth looking at least maybe a vertical spread to the downside for it to potentially fill this gap, or at least try to work on it a little bit, get to the 5-minute moving average of like 375. I think you could get a 5-7 point move out of this thing. So it looks pretty interesting. Harvey, is the MA for day trades only? No, not necessarily, Harvey. I mean, you could put it on any time frame you want to, right? So let's go real quick, and let's make this let's turn it into a day trade. I'm sorry, not a day trade. Let's turn it into a swing trade, and go to the. Here you go, the 1 year daily. And all right, so Boeing's a little funky. This is a tough one to trade because it's so choppy. But if we have something that's been a little bit more directional, like ooh, has anything actually been trending? We can look at Baidu. It's been trending down for a while. Let's adjust this. Okay, so this is your daily moving average. So let me adjust this here to see if I can find a moving average that kind of touches these peaks here. Okay. So let's edit that. And let's see. Let's go to the 50. That's looking pretty good. All right, the 50, and that's usually a pretty strong indicator. So let's go. Let's try 65, just to see. A little high there. I like that. I like the 50. Let's try 55, just to see. It's pretty smooth, right? Kind of came up, hit, almost hit, almost hit, almost hit. Now it's starting to break through, right? So, so now that we have this, we can hone a little bit further. Okay, so now, it served as pretty good resistance here. The 50. Let's just go with the 50 on this if we're at 55, because 50 is very algorithmic. Okay, and that works pretty good. So we came up here, right? We did try to break out here at one point, and failed. So just use whichever one you're more comfortable with. But here it's starting to kind of break out. It also is corresponding with a pitchfork too. So anytime you get these indications, it tried here too. So that's like 1, 2, 3 breakouts. This is the 4th one, right? Fourth time might be the charm. Your MACDs here are all green, okay? And we did have a signal crossover here. So now is some potential, right? To look to, if we're swinging Baidu, for instance, eventually this moving average is going to curl up, and we want to see if that serves as support for a potential up move into the future. So we're about to cross over here into positive territory on the MACDs. So once you get into that territory up here, you start to get institutional buyers because they want to buy stuff where the MACD is in the positive range, right? So this does look like the 50 moving average looks like a good one to use for swing trading. So you could wait a little bit, right? You could wait until like maybe the first pop. It depends when you want to go in. If you can get in here, just feeling really aggressive, right? Or you could wait until this kind of curls around, and so maybe sometime in March, right, we get a wave up, kind of touches that moving average there, and that's where you want to go long. And then see if you could ride that up to like 200, 207, something like that. So yeah, you can use it on multiple time frames. So you could use it. We could do it on the weeklies too. I'm not going to go crazy here, but the weekly might be maybe it's 200 weekly ish. No, it's not going to work. Maybe the 10. The 10 looks pretty good there. Right, very similar. Right, I'd like to ride the, kind of was riding the 10 up here. You might want to even, let's try the 20. Maybe a little too much. 15. Not bad. Not bad, right? MACD crossover goes red to green, right? Right off the 50, breakthrough. Then push, right? Then it came back down. You can get out here, right? And it just turned red too on the MACD as well. So you can kind of use those double indicators. So whatever time frame. So I mean that was here. That was from 2017, early 2017, all the way up to late 2017, right? So that using the what was that, the 15 moving average on the weekly for Baidu. So now you can see here, it's actually starting on the weekly. It's starting to turn green, right, on the MACD. So it's red to green. So you might want to wait like 1 or 2 weeks till you can clearly see a breakout there, right? And then just kind of see, how it handles it, right? So if it goes long, you can do that, wait to see if it tests it again. So you can definitely use it for swinging. Merritt, what's going on? Yeah, I think we're probably going to do 9:30. It's just going to give me more time to get ready and all that stuff. Andrew, what's going on, man? WBT. We are looking really solid, man. Yeah, I think we obviously checked this out the other day, so yeah, it's looking really good, man. The fib lines are, look at that, all the way to that trough, coming up to this this first Fibonacci fan line. Daily's looking good, just kind of plowing its way through the cloud. Just watch out for resistance here at 14 and a half. Nice finish on the day, and let's see, generally looking pretty good. Probably completed with this wave down. 1, maybe ABC 2, 3, ABC 4, 5, and now it's kind of working its way up here. This could be like ABC up. If it hits into that, I watch 1450 for some resistance, might come back down and then go back up again. And earnings are at the end of, towards the end of February. CYBR. Very strong move to the upside. Yeah, I mean, just looks like it might have peaked there for a little bit. I'm just kind of see if we took this trough to peak. Yeah, I mean, just let's keep an eye on this. It's kind of an unknown territory here, so you never want to buy all-time highs, right? Because there might be no sellers. But yeah, super duper strong moves on these months. Big week. Spinning top day right here at the upper Bollinger Band and oversold territory, so overbought territory. So just be careful here for potential reversal. Like I said, just be careful here for a potential reversal. But definitely strong overall. FXI. Oh yeah, that is interesting. I guess with BABA doing well and all that stuff, this could be a good indicator for the market. It did break through its 200-day moving average, right? And it's looking pretty strong. It's got cloud, and volumetric resistance right up here at 46. So it might be a good longer-term target. It's got room to go here on the weekly as well. Big move at the end of the day here too on the hourly. So that looks very strong. Let's see if we can do a little fib fan here. Yep, amazing, right? So it was serving as support for a little bit. Now it's serving as resistance. So see if we can get through that level. I think the key level for it to get through is this 43.44 area, 43.50, 44. And if we can do that, I think you can get a nice push to 47 or so. But yeah, it looks pretty good. BA, absolutely. I think we just talked about that a little bit. Gap up, possibly up to this upper pitchfork. Look for a pivot there and then back down. But again, if it's inside day, that break of the inside day to the downside, if the market's weak, Boeing could find some profit taking. Xilinx, I had this on my short list just to look at today. It's down $1, on the day and all that stuff. But the reason I looked at it, guys, is because it hit this, it closed above. This is yesterday. It closed above the Bollinger Band with RSI oversold, right? So that's a good reversal kind of area. Now it went inside day. It's already met up with the 5-minute moving average. So if it breaks this inside day to the downside, it might want to try to touch at least the 8 or the 10 moving averages too. So just kind of keep an eye on that area. Tilray. I got out. I did a straddle on this one today. Posted it publicly. It was it was a double inside day. So I bought it right at the open because a straddle at the open because we open right in the middle of the range. It's another technique, right? Because if it's double inside day, it's going to try to break to the upside or downside, and it did. It broke to the upside, so it worked good for a double inside day strategy. I just thought straddle because I was thinking maybe over a couple days things should move like $10, but honestly, the spreads and the straddles are pretty nasty too, and I'm happy I got out with it, even for a 20 or 30 cent profit. So yeah, but it is definitely consolidating. Just really tough to trade with options. So, but I would look for, if it does continue up, I would look for a pivot around this 85 area, and then look to take that to the downside. Manoj, what's going on, man? Baba. So I think, all right, so we just covered BA, and then BA, Baba. Super stellar move after earnings, and then got a nice follow through today into its 200 moving average. It had a kind of a channel to the downside. It's already broken through that quite nicely on the week. It does have some upside still too, to that 185 area. It looks like you got an inside 60 anchor there at the close. So if you like trading that at the open, that is something to watch. And then the wave count looks interesting. The way I kind of calculate this is wave 1, maybe ABC 2. So at this point, I would just be careful. that in those resistance areas, it might come up a little bit here. Those resistance areas kind of correspond to this pitchfork as well. So if it does put in a pivot around this 180 area, it might want to go back down. And we've covered BA. But good ones, Manoj. David, what's going on, man? WFT or CY? Let's check out Weatherford. My thoughts are penny stock. That 21 cents maybe it's got earnings tomorrow, so no real thoughts on it, except that I hope if you're in it, I hope it goes up for you. But it's this thing's gotten just destroyed from like the 20s all the way down to 20 cents. Goodness gracious. I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It is hard to tell, but if earnings are really good, a lot of play on a penny stock. You never know. Let's see, and then I seem to have lost my chart. There we go. And then CY. What is happening? Auto zoom. Okay, yeah, we checked this out the other day. Yeah, it kind of worked its way up. Nice pivot here at the low end of the pitchfork, back into the pitchfork here. So it seems to be holding this as a little bit of resistance. So if it holds that well enough, below that 1350 kind of stop area, look to see if it can give you an upside push here to this volumetric area, which happens to correspond to the top of the pitchfork at like about 1570. No problem, Julian. My pleasure. Jordan, what's going on? Tilray. Yep, we looked at that. Yeah, not quite a triple inside day, Jordan. I mean, even though it's inside the range, I count the wicks too on those. But it is still within a reasonable area. So we just kind of covered this. It's in the mother bar range here, but I count the wick, so they kind of go inside like a Russian doll type thing. But yeah, the entire price is still contained within the mother bar range. So, and same well, not within the real bar here, but in general, it's still coiling up and looking at like it's going to do something. So that's why I got the straddle on it, because I was like, it's going to break to the upside or downside off of the double inside day, and it did. It just the only thing that really moved was the bid. So it was really tough to get out of it, because the spread between the bid and the ask was like $5. I mean, I don't even know why I did the trade, but I was like, it'll move $20, and it just didn't get quite that push. So I was glad I got for a little bit of profit on that. Max, what's going on, man? How do you use the volumetric resistance? What's the indicator? Okay, Max, cool. Let me tweet out here. Not tweet, but stand by. Trading. Sorry, man. I'm gonna put a post up for an old video that talks about volumetric resistance. If I have that, I might not have written that one down. I forgot to do volume. I've got a video on volume profile. I'll tweet it out later. So just keep an eye on Twitter for that. But yeah, so volumetric resistance. It's all you do is you go to studies, and you go to edit studies, and you go to just type in profile, or you can type in volume profile, and there's a study up there that comes up with that. Just double click that, and then you want to go. You want to click on. If you go through the whole video, I kind of go through that. But you want to click to get it to go behind your. You click on expansion no in the settings of it, so you can get it to kind of come behind your levels. It's automatic. It gives it to you through Thinkorswim, and they're actually really great levels to use, because a lot of times they are channel levels, and those are really great. And so they're automatically given to you just based on this. I mean, you can look at the volumetric levels here, and you can kind of see where it flattens out here, and that's a good resistance area, or down here is a good support area. But it just kind of calculates that based on volume, and it's really, really helpful. Here's the red one is really key too. So you can see even here it's kind of hanging out on this red line right here. So great free feature in Thinkorswim on that. So yeah, volume profile, I will try to tweet that out a little bit later. Max is going on. BA is coming off of earnings with an inside flag. That's right. Yeah, so it is. So Boeing is like I said, it's inside day, and then let's take a look at what it's doing on that shorter term time frame. Let's look at the 15s. Yeah, so kind of not, yeah, sort of like a flag. It could be a bull flag, I guess, if you look at it here. You kind of bull flag that a little bit. So yeah, if it breaks out here, over that level, you could get a pop to the upside. So just however, whatever you're more comfortable trading. Like if you like trading off the daily chart, that inside day break to the downside, it could be a failed flag, essentially to the downside too. So just interesting to look at. Yeah, especially it's coming in this way and it's over a little bit overbought and just hanging out in the top of that upper Bollinger Band too. Sandeep, what's going on, man? ATVI, yeah, great one. Let's see, ATVI. Yeah. Golly, didn't we? We really, everybody thought this thing was really ready to do it when it started, kind of breaking out at these lows. You can see here it hit the lower Bollinger Band, closed below it. RSI was oversold. After that, boom, nice move up to the mid Bollinger Band. Came back down, retested, back up to the upper Bollinger Band, closed above it. It wasn't overbought, but it did give you a pivot here. Then gap back down. Then really low. Right, they lost their CFO to Netflix on this one. Gap down. This has been kind of chopping around this mid Bollinger Band. Now it's heading into like some really big cloud resistance right here. You can see. So 1-2 days, this thing's going to be hitting into this thing, and then it's got earnings to contend with. It's going to have some stellar earnings, and these gaming stocks have not been doing so well. Because of Fortnite and all that stuff. So just be careful here of this huge cloud resistance that's about to bang into. So this looked promising, and then they lost their CFO, and now they're going to have a lot of talking to do coming into earnings in mid-February. Thanks, Darren. Appreciate it, man. Always appreciate you, buddy. So yeah, I think maybe I'll go back on Sunday, back to 9:30, and we'll try to keep it like 30 to 40 minutes top, so everybody can get some sleep. And it'll give time to get a little more preparation, get some charts done ahead of time. I just thought like if I leave work at like 5:30, I just thought I had plenty of time to do charts and get ready for it. But it turns out I'm probably going to be having more late days at work, which means to be rushing to try to do a video. And if we do it at 9:30, it kind of keeps everything covered, right? So we'll try to do that starting Sunday. Merit, what's going on? Let me hit those and then I'll bounce here. RTN and LMT. Oh yeah, we got some defense stocks. Good. Yeah, should be pretty strong. I mean, it had like good earnings, so this is a good reversal potential here. I don't know what day did they report today? I guess all eyes were on the on FANGs today. So yeah, so gap down on some pretty solid earnings. Well, not necessarily solid, but decent earnings. It's tagging the bottom of this cloud right here and the 50 moving average. So if anything, I would look for a reversal on this thing. If it goes down, I wouldn't expect it to go much farther than 162 before buying again to at least try to get back into the upper end of this cloud and possibly break out with that one. And then LMT. Similar. They had apparently they had bad earnings or missed on earnings, but still were a little bit strong that day. So you had a reversal day there. Consolidating here inside day. LMTs, these ones are tough to day trade because of the spreads and all that stuff. But long term, I mean, I think it's looking like it's working on it. Let's see if we can grab a wave count off of this. I got notes here. It looks like an explain effect too complicated for me, but may eventually want a wave 5 up. How long ago was that? Gosh, I've been doing this for a while. Anyway, so we have I thought this was wave 3 of a larger term time frame. Let me go weekly. Let's go to the weekly here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I was like, wave 1, 2, maybe wave 3. Can't be wave 4 because it crossed over wave 1, so that chart's not right. But this, I was just going to here. So this could be wave 1, 2, that could be 3, and then wave 4 here. So yeah, and like I said, and then maybe want a wave 5 up. So it might be doing that right now, Merit. So this correction could be done, A, B, C, and then it might be working on a wave 5 up. So just look for a 1, maybe possible pullback, 2, and then could be working on a wave 5. That was a good note that I had right there. There. Let's see if we can find a low on this thing. 57. to this high. Somewhere around there. Okay. Yeah, notice how it kind of held. Look at that. Look at this fib line. Isn't that amazing? So it kind of held this area, went below it, didn't want to stay below it. So maybe a little pullback here to like 270, and that would be an area to go long. This is more of like a swing type, type company. So very tough to day trade. But yeah, it overall looks pretty strong. And surely, SHW. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll call it a night. Gosh, Sherwin-Williams. How about Sherwin-Williams, man? A little paint stock all the way from 42 back in 2009 to 400, 500. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, long term looks pretty good. I mean, if it did have like some sort of weak, no, it seemed to have. Oh, it did really bad. Did it? Oops, has some good outlook or something like that. I'm looking at their earnings was like off by like $2. So I don't know. I'd be careful. I'd look to see maybe the downside here, but to at least retest like this 330, 350 level, before it, try to push to the upside. But obviously they said something to backpedal and get out of that earnings debacle. Looks pretty interesting. Look at this on the hourly. These volumetric levels, tag. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe back down a little bit, and then maybe a retest to the upside. So contained within this channel right now. So at this point, just observation. Gosh, I know we looked at this before, but gosh, who would have thought Sherwin-Williams $400 stock? Amazing. All right, guys. Well, good stuff. I appreciate everybody being patient with the computer issues I had earlier, but I'm glad we got through everything, and hope everybody has a great night. And remember, tomorrow's Friday, so watch out for theta burn on your options. And have a great night and a safe trading day tomorrow. And I'll talk to you guys soon.